And here we are. We're live here. Just want to make sure everything is still coming through okay now that we're our Facebook Live.
Loud and clear on my end.
Fantastic. Okay. Trenton Hudson. How you doing today, man?
I'm fantastic, man. Happy to be here. Appreciate you having me.
I appreciate one is sending me the coffee.
You got a chance to try it yet?
Yes, I'm actually drinking it right now. I got to send you one of these
Nice.
mugs. And
Oh, that's what's up. I like that. That's what's up. What do you think of it?
I think it's exactly as it's described. It's got that classic bold
Mm-hmm.
taste, and I don't, I don't, I don't put creamer into it. I like to stick with just
Hmm.
black, and maybe I'll add a little sugar.
Okay, nice.
But I didn't put
Yeah.
any of that in there. I just want to make sure I tried the effects and see how it feels and how it tastes and
Hmm.
everything, and it is really good. And
Very nice, man. That's what's up. Glad you like it.
yes, I pulled up some research about it, so we will cover that later in today's show. I have, as far as getting some scientific studies about the health benefits, and then I don't want to jump too far into it. I'm ready, just going on here.
Yeah, yeah. We'll get there. We'll cover all the important stuff.
Mm-hmm. So, Trenton, you are a self-taught artist in content creation and a business owner of Comedy, which both you and your brother Dylan Hudson co-founded. RiOT Comedy is best known for the online animated program Real Ballers. Also, The Lounge, which premiered on Comedy Central in 2016. Has it been stored and is it available on RiOT Comedy? Is the very question that we need to know.
The Lounge isn't available on RiOT Comedy. The Lounge is available on Comedy Central's website. You can go to their website and search The Lounge. We did 20 episodes for them. It was like a 2-season run on their digital platforms. But as far as like RiOT Comedy, yeah, you can still check out the Real Ballers and all that stuff, which is like a super funny show. If you're an NBA fan, Real Ballers is super funny. Basically just parody and make fun of the nonstop NBA news cycle, all the drama that's going on in that. And then lately, like especially since the pandemic came, we kind of shifted our focus a lot towards developing full length animated TV shows. So right now, our focus has been a lot of reaching out to streaming services, production companies, things like that. And we have a couple projects right now that are actually like picking up some solid steam and gaining ground. Um, we have a pitch with Netflix in like a month for one of our shows. We have a show that we got some really cool people to work with us on it. We have a show where we have David Ketchner committed to the project. David Ketchner, if you don't know who he is if you've seen Anchorman, he plays Champ Kind, the weather, no, the sports, Whammy. He's that guy. And yeah, Todd
Oh,
Packer on The Office, which I love him in The Office. In So he's committed to be the voice of like the boss in the show, and it's a super funny show. Adam Ray is also attached to it. He's an up and coming comedian. He's super funny, super talented, amazing voice actor. And then we have someone else who has a little bit bigger name than those two, but she isn't like fully committed to the project yet. So I don't want to drop her name out there, but she did come
mhm.
through and do she did a voice for us for free on one of our like pitch points projects we put together for like a sizzle reel. So yeah, that's kind of been our focus, and we're inching closer towards making that happen and having a show on television. And then once that happens, then we'll start to branch out a little bit more and probably even produce a little more content for RiOT Comedy on our online social platforms and all that. But yeah, right now the focus has been making one of these TV deals happen.
That is awesome. Like I want to go into that now. We're gonna put that on hold
Yeah, let's do it.
and let's go into the beginning a little bit. We'll backtrack. You've had two heart attacks at the age of 21 due to the left interior descending, which is the LAD, and aneurysm, which is uncommon in the American population.
Hmm.
Essentially, you could have died from this experience.
Yeah, yeah. Essentially, I should have honestly. Like, it's funny because the LAD is called the widow maker. So typically, if you have a heart attack in that region of your heart, typically that kills you. So the bottom
Mhm.
half of my LAD, which for those of you listening, if you don't know, the LAD, there's like four sections of your heart, and the LAD provides blood to that bottom left section of your heart. So there's no blood flowing through there anymore. But luckily, before I had my first heart attack, my heart kind of recognized that something was up and started developing these arteries around it. So my heart, there's no blood flowing through my LAD, but these arteries that my heart developed on its own feed blood to that part of my heart, and my heart has completely normal function now. Like no issues. Like last time I saw my cardiologist last summer, summer 2020, we did like every test in the book. We did an ultrasound, we did the CT scan, like with the 3D digital imaging and all that, and everything looks super good. So I'm super lucky, super blessed. And the crazy thing is that whenever you have a heart attack, your heart never heals from that. So whatever
Mhm.
damage is done is done. You just have to kind of live with that, and your heart has to, try to make up for it or do without or whatever. But luckily, my heart sustained from two heart attacks almost no damage. It was like it
Oh,
even took the tech a while to find it when we were doing the ultrasound and looking at my heart. And him and my cardiologist both were like, "You were like incredibly lucky that this is all that was done." It's like it's almost impossible to find. And yeah,
mhm.
everything looks great. So yeah, I'm super blessed, super lucky. But yeah, quite an experience to have when you're 20 years old to wake up on a Sunday morning and you got chest pain and you ain't thinking too much of it.
Mm-mm.
And then it gets a little worse and you eventually, go to the ER and they admit you after, sitting in the waiting room for 2 hours, but yeah, they're like, "Yeah, you're having a heart attack." They went inside and looked at it, and quite an experience. Changes your perspective on everything in your life.
Yes, it was definitely a wake up call for you. You were pushed into adulthood quickly during this experience, and that's where you gave up on caffeine. You at that point you were never you stopped taking caffeine altogether.
It was a while. Honestly, I kept drinking caffeine for a while, but I was consuming it pretty moderately. I've never been like a big caffeine person, but I love coffee and I love the taste of coffee. I love the smell, and
Hmm.
so yeah. And then I got to a point where it just kind of like started to bother me a little bit more. And if I have two coffees in one day, my chest, it's not like a painful pounding or anything like that, but it's like, oh, something's off in here. What's going on? So yeah, I pretty much gave it up. I haven't really been too heavy on the caffeine in a few years now. And like every now and again, I might stop and grab a cup of coffee if I got a long road trip ahead of me or something. But that's
Hmm.
about it. Otherwise, I drink the Korma.
Which brings me up to the next question. Why did you start your own coffee brand?
Yeah, so I started this for people who are like me, people who either can't have caffeine or it bothers them, or maybe you just want to live a little healthier lifestyle. Like my mom used to drink a whole pot of coffee a day. Like every morning she'd get up,
Oh
start a pot of
yeah.
coffee, and sip on it all morning as she's
Mm,
getting ready.
that sounds
And now
wonderful.
she has, doesn't it? Now she has one cup of coffee, and then she'll switch to Korma. And she said that keeps her feeling good all day, and she doesn't have the crash in the afternoon, and it feels great. So I started it for people who just want to be a little more health conscious, and or maybe you're forced into being health conscious because you have a heart issue, like a lot of Americans. And it's funny because I actually started making this for myself. I'm one of those people I just kind of try to see how I can save different food things and seeds and things like
Hmm.
that. And I looked up what you can do with date seeds, and you can turn them into coffee. And I got tired of making it for myself and wanted to buy it at the store, but I couldn't really find it. And so I kind of saw the opportunity there to provide it for other people who maybe don't want to make it for themselves and also myself. So and then ours actually has a little bit of chicory root in it, which is like this dark bitter herb, and it's actually really healthy for you. Got a lot of great components to it, and it's really popular in New Orleans. If you've ever been in New Orleans, chicory coffee is like really popular there. It's a staple, and it balances the sweetness of the date seed so well, and it gives you a pretty solid, pretty close to authentic coffee flavor. As far as like coffee alternatives, I've tried quite a few.
Hmm.
And like a lot of them are really good, but they just don't taste like coffee.
So I looked
And I
into
think
the
Hudson is
studies
probably the
of
closest.
date seeds extract being effective in scavenging free radicals in relation to specific diseases. I was able to
Yeah,
pull it up as proof. The date seed extract causes a noteworthy decline in blood glucose levels in a diabetic control rats. So they do a study off that, and what they take away is from reasons from palm date seeds could be used as food supplement that helps treat chronic diseases, renal stones, bronchitis, bronchial asthma, weak memory, blood pressure, relation to intestinal and I can't forget what that was, and growing body proteins, reducing fat, and normalizing blood sugar. And it's comforting for the pancreas. There is plenty of scientific research to back that up as a very healthy alternative to what people is currently drinking today.
Yeah, dates are considered a superfood. So when you take something from the seed of it, you're just, amplifying those properties and getting it, at its most purest raw source, which is the seed. And so, it's non-acidic. It's not going to give you acid reflux like regular coffee may for some people. Yeah, like you mentioned, it's great for your digestion, your brain health. It's great for your skin. There's so many benefits of it. So I love my morning coffee ritual, or sometimes I do tea, but I love my hot drink in the morning, like a little before the sun comes up, and to
Yes.
to start every day with, like, keeps me feeling good all day, and something that I know is good for me. It's like I love it. I love the way it makes me feel, and I want to really be able to give that to other people. So that's kind of how Korma was born. And yeah, so it's Korma is the brand with a K. So if you're trying to live a little healthier, have a healthier morning to start your day and no crash, I want to be able to help out those people that are looking for that. I'm not here to convince anyone to stop drinking coffee. If you love your caffeine and you love your coffee and you don't have any adverse effects,
Mhm.
do you? I'm not here to convince you. But if you're looking, or if you want to just try something a little healthier, I want to be able to help those people that are looking for that.
And I'll be sure to link everything here in the show notes as far as where to find everything from all your content, your media, and of course, coffee. Let's talk about the difference between your coffee and regular coffee, and highlight some of the side effects of decaf coffee that people aren't aware of.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, obviously, the biggest difference in our coffee and regular coffee is going to be the caffeine, the acidity. Ours is actually considered alkaline, so it alkalizes your body. It's not, like I said, it's not going to give you acid reflux. It's not going to kind of give you those effects that the acid can do. And also, like you mentioned, decaf. So the big thing about decaf that a lot of people don't know is the process that actually is required to decaffeinate coffee beans. Um, which no one really discloses which method they use. And there is like one method that's, getting more popular. It's called the Swiss water method.
Hmm.
If you're drinking coffee that's decaffeinated with the Swiss water method, you don't really have much to worry about. You're pretty good. But any other method, they use solvents that are more reminiscent of paint thinners, and they have chemicals in them and stuff to draw that caffeine out.
Hmm.
And like, you don't really, obviously, you don't want to consume that. So you got to kind of do your diligence about which decaffeinating method they use if you are drinking decaf. But you're still going to have the acidity. You're still going to have trace amounts of caffeine. So for people like me, I try not to do the caffeine. And also, I love chocolate, so I try to only get caffeine from chocolate if I'm going to have caffeine. So I try to pretty well stay away from the coffee. But I do love it. I love the smell of it. And but yeah, there's quite a few things, and like you just touched on, all the health benefits, and there's so many things about coffee that it's tough to know what's what, because you see so many studies that are like coffee's bad for you, coffee's good for you. So what's what? Where's the information coming from? Who sponsored that information? So,
Yes.
which is kind of like, did a coffee company sponsor this information that's saying it's good? Did someone's coffee alternative sponsor this information saying it's bad for you? Who knows? So it's like,
Yes.
especially in the world we live in, there's so much misinformation and mistrust with what's put out as far as like science experiments and
Hmm.
just information in general. So it's tough to just even know what's what.
Agreed, and that's with your transformation station. We're trying to highlight these hidden facts and figures, and really provide people with the statistics, the science, the research, and also the experts in their field and their craft, and help them gain insight that wasn't passed along from previous generation or just their social upbringing. And that's
Mm.
So as we transition forward, let's go into RiOT Comedy. No, no, no. I don't want to go there yet. I'm holding on to that. Like
Yeah.
before, this is right after you've just gotten your degree and you're an
hmm
accountant and you're about 23 at that time, right?
Yeah, yeah, I was 23.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
so this is like the beginning of the story. This is where the cartoons started.
yes,
And quick correction, I was working as a financial advisor.
financial advisor.
So I didn't actually do any accounting. I don't so don't ask me accounting questions. I will have no information for you, anybody. um but yeah, so it literally started like I was working for this company, and it was a great company to work for, and I loved the people that I worked with, and the management team that we had around us was great. And but wow, I did not like it at all. I didn't like it at all. I didn't like the work I was doing. Um, it just wasn't me. I was in such a this the financial world is there. There's not a lot of space for creativity,
Hmm.
and I consider myself an artist. Truly. So I literally called my brother one day in October 2013, and because I'm sitting here kind of trying to figure out, okay, what can I do that I know I'm gonna love doing forever, but also will provide me the kind of lifestyle I want to live. And I'd always kind of had this draw towards entertainment, but making movies or TV shows or anything like that requires quite a few resources, and like even aside from money, like you either have to have the space to shoot what you want to shoot. Cameras are expensive if you want quality cameras, things like that.
Hmm.
So I'm like, okay, we can do cartoons. We've always wanted to make cartoons, and we've always been inspired by cartoons. Like South Park was our favorite show growing up. We love South Park, Family Guy, American Dad, all those staple cartoons. Even The Simpsons. Whenever I was a little kid, I remember being like 3, 4, 5 years old, and it was a big deal. We're like, Simpsons are getting on the couch. How are they going to get on the couch different this week? So it's kind of
Hmm.
always been in the back of our minds. And so
Trent, can I pause
we
you? Let me
yeah,
pause
yeah, absolutely.
for 1 second. This because this brings a little focal point I want to highlight. So, as you
Mhm,
were a financial advisor, you made that decision to step away from your job and to follow your creative insights. If you could put it down to say two questions that comes to mind that helped you made your decision to walk away from their life and start your passion,
mhm.
what could you think of?
Yeah, so the biggest thing I was asking myself was, do you want to love your job or like your job? And that was it. The saying, what's the old saying? If you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. And what I was doing felt like work, and I didn't like it. So I literally was just, it, if I would have put all the time and dedication and energy that I put into cartoons, if I would have done that and put it into my job as a financial advisor, I'd probably be making $500,000 a year right now, like no joke.
Hmm.
But it would it wouldn't do it for me. Like it just wouldn't. So I have to have both. I have to have a career that I love. I have to love what I do every day, and have the you know be in a position to afford the lifestyle I want to live. And I'm not at that lifestyle yet. Like I live in LA, and it's not easy to get to that point out here. But we're in a really good position, and we're making those steps every day to make that happen. And like we've done some like great work with some great people, great companies, and like we're really out here kind of making little waves before we can make these big waves. But yeah, so that's the first question. And the second one is, I asked myself, I asked myself actually a lot trying to make this decision was, do you want to wake up when you're 50 years old and think, man, if I would have done this instead,
Mm, that's
what could I've been? And that's how I've always thought about it. Like if I'm like the path that I took, I know for a fact if I wake up and I'm 50 years old, whatever, even if the cartoons doesn't work out, if everything fails and implodes on us and we get kicked out of Hollywood, I can still wake up and be like, I'm glad I made that decision. I'm glad I didn't continue being a financial advisor and stick on that path, the corporate ladder path. And it was always just how am I going to make myself the happiest? What's going to make me the happiest? I guess that kind of combines the two questions,
Hmm.
and the two questions combined are what's going to make me the happiest. And it wasn't sticking in the financial industry, so I had to get out and I had to do what was best for me.
I really liked it, and I wanted to highlight that because I know a lot of people are experiencing these thoughts of leaving their job and starting their business, and they just don't know how to weigh out the potential good outcomes versus the potential bad. But really, when you look at
Hmm.
it, what should be most important to you, and that comes down to, do you want to be happy, or do you just want to
Yeah.
be making money and getting by and
Right.
just not
Right.
there?
And also I'll say, like, a lot of people are in tougher positions than me because I don't have kids, so I don't have other mouths to feed. Like, I'm gonna say, if you don't have kids, drop everything you're doing and chase your dreams. Whatever you think is gonna make you the happiest, drop everything and do that. Like, everything is gonna be fine. You'll get overwhelmed, but it'll be good for you. Things just seem to work out. I don't know why, but they just do. As long as you keep pursuing your passion. Now, if you got kids, maybe I'm not in the position to tell you what to do because that's a whole other aspect of life that is incorporated into, every decision that you make. And but yeah, if you don't have kids, chase your dreams. Whatever you think is going to make you the happiest, drop everything, cuz like when you don't have kids to worry about, you don't have other mouths to feed. Like, all you have to do is make sure your rent is paid. That's
Yeah.
it.
But don't worry, I'll jump in on this one. I have kids. I have a newborn, and I'm also fathering two additional children, and I'm going full time in school, and I'm also doing podcasting, creating my content, following my dreams, and it is a
Mhm.
pain in the ass. I barely get time to journal, read, or even go to the gym, and that is motivation to me when I can get to the gym.
Mhm.
And it
Yeah.
all just comes down to planning. If you really want it, you'll sacrifice sleep to get what you want.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And like, yeah, yeah, that's for sure. And the thing is, like, I know I'm not in a position to tell people, but I see it every day. I see people who do have kids. I see people with more responsibilities than me, doing more than me, making more things happen than me. So if those people can do it, I can do it. You can do it. Anyone can do it. It's just, a matter of, putting a plan in place and figuring out how. And whenever I was in college, I got probably the best piece of advice I'd ever received in my life, and that was think backwards. So figure out where you want to be. You have to figure out where you want to go before you can figure out how to get there. And you got to figure out how to get there or I mean where you're going first. So if you know where you're going, you can think about the end point and then think about, okay, well, this is the end goal. So the point before this is this, and the point before this is this, and then this. It's like working through a maze backwards, right?
Hmm.
And it's hard to navigate whenever you're jumping into any business. When we decided to make cartoons, me and my brothers, and I have a brother, Devin, also, who's also a part of RiOT Comedy. Um, so when we all decided to kind of collectively make cartoons, we didn't know how to animate. We didn't know how to write shows. We didn't know how to write jokes. We knew how to be funny, but we didn't know how to structure jokes to hit hard and
Hmm.
bring out the best of the characters and this and that. And we literally, we bought some computers. Like, we didn't have these were the resources that I was talking about, why we didn't consider doing live action and things like that. And this is part of it, is that you have to utilize your resources at hand, and sometimes we don't have capital behind us, sometimes we don't have whatever it is, but you're going to have time and energy, and those are always going to be your best resources. So we started making cartoons. We got a Best Buy credit card, bought like three computers to animate on that were like technically not even equipped to handle the output that we were doing out of them, but we pushed them anyway and just made it happen. And so we bought like $3,000 worth of computers. We stole the computer software. We pirated it from the internet. That's how we like started making YouTube stuff. And so we pirated this software because it was like, like 12 or 1,500 bucks a computer. And I think it was like 1,200 bucks.
Hmm.
Um, so we didn't have another 3 grand, $3,600 to spend on that. So we just pirated it and we started making this cartoon on YouTube. And it was so bad in the beginning. Like, as soon as we were able to animate content, we did, and then we just figured it out. The content got better, the animation got better, the jokes got better, the writing got better. But you can see a drastic arc in our, like, quality of everything. And it's just, the first episode is just everything is bad. The writing's bad. It's not funny. The animation is absolutely atrocious.
Mm-hmm.
But then, it just gets better and better and better. And, it got more popular and we caught the attention of Comedy Central. And then, you know, we get a deal with Comedy Central. And it wasn't a ton of money, but it was way more than we were making on YouTube. And, it enabled us to, buy the real software we needed and actually do things legitly. And then now, we went from in a few years making content that was just basically unwatchable to TV quality
Mm-hmm.
content. And that's just, from just jumping into it. And, our dream is to, make shows and write comedy. And if, if, if you have a dream, then you'll figure out how to make it happen. Like we didn't, like I said, we didn't know how to write. We didn't know how to animate. We didn't know how to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
We just figured it out from putting it out and getting feedback from people. And then, we were lucky enough to work with Comedy Central, and they helped us take everything to a whole nother level. Like everything, our whole production quality just went through the roof. Our writing went through the roof because, even after doing like a couple seasons of our show on YouTube, and we made like 25 episodes, um, it was like it was funny, but it wasn't good. The storyline was just kind of there were just so many holes and it needed to be worked. And so whenever we were around the people at Comedy Central that we were working with, it was such a great experience because they're like, okay, this needs to be done this way. This joke needs to be structured more like this. It'll hit harder. And the storyline needs to go from here to here to here. And
Mm-hmm.
then, and they're like literally kind of coaching us through this. And, it was just a matter of us being persistent and actually like the way we got linked with Comedy Central was
Wait. I wanna pause on
go
that.
ahead.
We'll hit on that here momentarily. Let's
All right,
let's
cool.
let's rewind a little bit because we have a piece of your content that we're going to play here in a little bit that will show everybody the end result. But I would like to try to continue to paint that picture because
Hmm.
when you go back a little bit around, I would say to 2015. Let's look
Hmm.
at like where do you get the inspiration to create this original humor? Because it's I feel like it's related to the area that
The
I'm
real
living in.
world.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, definitely. Oh yeah, yeah. So we're originally from Missouri,
Yes.
and we grew up like an hour and a half west of St. Louis, small town. So the
Mm-hmm.
Missouri life kind of influenced our stuff a lot. Like there's even an episode in our YouTube series where like they're trying to go to the Arch because they've never been, and it was just like a bogus little episode at the beginning because we didn't know where to take stuff. We're just like writing and trying to put stuff out just cause,
Mm-hmm.
and try to learn and make our content better every time. But yeah, so it's very, very influential by the world that you're living in now that we used to live in.
Mm-hmm.
And the real world definitely plays on everything, and whenever we were doing the stuff on YouTube, um, so this is 2015 when we started. And what was really dominating the news in the second half of 2015 was Bill Cosby.
Ah,
So
yes.
in the first season of The Lounge on YouTube, it's about so the lounge. Let me tell you real quick. It's four guys that work at a school. So it's middle. It's they work in a middle school. It's PE coach, counselor, bus driver, secretary. So none of them are actual teachers. So they just dick around in the lounge all day.
Mm-hmm.
So they're on summer break from school, and after watching Wolf of Wall Street, they decide they want to try some Quaaludes. So they're on a mission to get Quaaludes through the whole season, and it turns out that the only way to get them, you got to get them from Old Man Cosby. He's a drug kingpin in the show. So the guys are like on this cross country tour to Hollywood trying to find old man Cosby, and then they eventually run into him, but things go awry and there's like a whole issue of everything. And also while this is going on, another breaking news story that year was El Chapo broke out of prison that year. So he breaks out of prison, and then like a few days later we put him in the episode. He's hitchhiking in the middle of nowhere and the guys are like
Mm-hmm.
on the school bus going cross country and they pick him up. So we add some backstory to that. And Chapo also used to sell Quaaludes, but he sold them all to Old Man Cosby in the 80s because he didn't know they were going to quit making them, become such a gold mine. So he's like down with the guys the rest of the way to go find Old Man Cosby and like settle a score. And it just turns into this whole like wacky, ridiculous, over the top story with these random dudes, Chapo Guzman and Bill Cosby, in this like little mini drug feud. And so yeah, just real life, man. And and then some of our characters are obviously, inspired by a combination of people we know, relatives,
Hmm.
old people that used to work at our school, and just wherever we can draw inspiration from. It's like there's inspiration everywhere if you're looking for it. It just jumps out at you.
So let's go. Let's rewind a little bit more. I stumbled across a Q&A piece that was published in 2017 by
Hmm.
Vox magazine, and it was you and your brothers that were recreating your adolescent experience through the use of the main characters in each episode.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. So it definitely started that way, and then the characters became their own people. So like, it's funny because in the lounge, the PE coach was kind of based off of like our own father a little bit, but also our PE coach when we were in high school. And then like there's elements that we just kind of took from other people, whether they're on TV or people in our real life. But yeah, definitely. And then like the original lounge, um, was originally pretty well based off a lot of our own school that we went to.
Hmm.
And when we were concepting this, we made a pilot where the principal dies and he gets replaced by this woman who was actually based like very much off of our high school principal because we didn't like her at all. So we based this character off of our high school principal, and then we're like, okay, this character actually sucks. So we scrapped her,
Hmm.
kept the original principal. His name is Carl, and Carl is like not based off of anybody we know. He's just like he's almost like Vladimir Putin in the sense that like he's got his hands in everything, and he literally is like the richest man in the world, but no one knows about it. He does everything from like real estate to extortion, drug dealing, weapons dealing, stocks, like everything you can name, and he does it. So his character was so strong, we kept him in.
So by the end of 2015, you realize in order to get this show to take off, you brought everybody to a small theater in Columbia, Forum 8. I think that's what it is. And
Yeah,
you
yeah.
came to the realization that wasn't the greatest method to get on TV. At that point, how did you go from there?
Well, I'll say like putting it in the cinema, it was a really cool experience, and I'm glad we did it. It was a ton of fun. We had like a ton of people show out, and so we rented out a movie theater for. We produced a 25-minute pilot and rented out the movie theater and got a lot of reviews. And it was also to get feedback and give these people who were supporting us a chance to kind of see what we've been working on. And but yeah, that wasn't the way to go. So after that, we immediately started putting stuff on YouTube. So the theater was our very first project, and YouTube came after that. We literally went from theater, and like you said, we kind of realized it wasn't the best way. So we're like, okay, we got to build some real buzz around this show and really get things going. So we started putting out episodes twice a week, every week on YouTube. And like that's a serious grind because animation is very time consuming. We were literally like we were putting episodes I think out on I think Monday and Thursday. So let's say we put Monday's episode out that morning, and then Monday's episode is out. We're literally writing on Thursday's episode now. As soon as this episode's out, we're writing the next one, and then rewriting it, and then rewriting it, and then do voiceovers, and then take the voiceover, plug it in the animation software, build the animation around it, and animate that, and have all that done in 3 days,
Oh, yes. That,
which is literally working on that nonstop. And
yeah.
then Thursday's episode comes out. We got to start writing Monday's episode because this thing's due in 4 days now. So that, and we literally did that for the second half of 2015. We did 2 seasons. Um, Season 2 was like whenever Trump was campaigning in the primaries, and so he like comes to this small town to do a little campaign rally,
Hmm.
but he's also there to the the PE coach and the bus driver live in this janky apartment building together, and he owns it. So he's coming to tear it down and build a Trump Tower there instead. So they got to figure out how to save their building because they can't afford to live in a Trump Tower or anywhere else. Um, so it just turns into this whole thing, and then like Trump and the principal Carl, who's like I said, like the most powerful man in the world, they have this rivalry and butt heads because they're both like rich assholes, and they treat other people like shit in the show, and it's just super funny. So yeah, so we literally for the whole second half of 2015, we were pumping out content nonstop, like literally nonstop. Like that was all we did the whole second half of 2015 was work on this. And that like really catapulted us into making the thing with Comedy Central happen, and then getting our name out there. So it put us in a position to work with these other these great companies, amazing people who could help us elevate what we were already doing and take it to another level as far as like the quality of the content goes.
How were you able to stay motivated producing that much content so frequently?
Man, it's easy to get burnt out when you're doing that. Stay
Yeah.
motivated. It was just like, I don't know if I even was motivated at the time. It was just a commitment. It was just something I committed myself to. So it just felt like any other commitment, anything else that you're dedicated to. Um, it was it was just, yeah, we have to put this episode out Monday and we have to put one out Thursday because we tell our fans that we do. So whenever you commit to something, you'll kind of do whatever it takes to make it happen. And yeah, because like they say, well, motivation is fleeting. You got to be
Hmm.
dedicated to it. You can do, and sometimes, yeah, you got to hype yourself up still, because even though you're dedicated, you still don't feel like doing anything. And honestly, I have a playlist of music that is just like motivating music and music that gets my mind in the right place. And I music is probably the biggest motivator for me. If I feel myself getting a little bit down, I'll put on the right music. I listen to a lot of Nipsey Hussle. He was actually like a huge influence for me, and even deciding to make cartoons and pursue comedy and do the things that I'm doing now. So his music is super motivating for me. I love listening to Drake, Jay Z, and like I said, Drake. But I listen. He's got a lot of like the heartbreak soft music, but he's got a lot of
Hmm.
motivating music too, and that's mostly what I listen to of his. But yeah, I love the hustler mentality, the hustler spirit, and that go getter, let's make stuff happen attitude. And it was just like I said, I was just dedicated to it and still am.
Yeah.
And you gotta figure out why you're doing it. So for me, it was like, why am I doing this? That'll keep you motivated. And do I would we were also like all bartending at the time where we were making these cartoons. And so it was like, okay, do I want to do this bartending thing forever, or do I want to produce my own content and then eventually maybe have a show on TV and things like that. So it was, do you want to, what kind of life do you want to live? If you want to live the life, if you really want the life that you're looking for, you better stay dedicated to this. Because if you're not, then you're gonna stay still, and no one has time for stillness.
Have you ever played a song on repeat? Like there's just one good song that you like, you play this song like over like 30 times.
There's probably a few, yeah, yeah.
I just want to make sure I'm not the only one that does that.
I don't know. I got a few, man. I got a playlist. Like I was saying, the playlist that I put it together in 2015, and I still listen to it all the time now.
Hell
And
yeah.
there's a ton of songs on there that I'll be like, repeat just this one only. Just put it on repeat. I'll listen to this one for the next hour while I work and make stuff happen.
So now let's look at it. This is you submitting your deal to Comedy Central. I would like to get some insight on what exactly happened and the outcome. And then afterwards, if you can share advice for content makers who want to level up their work in hopes of being recognized by a large business from your
Mhm.
experience, like what you could
Yeah.
give them.
So our experience. So I want to answer that first part, or the
Sure.
the last part that you said first. I want to answer that first about the advice for other content creators. The advice I would say more than anything is work with people who are better, smarter, more experienced than you. Like us working with Comedy Central, like we got even the first year working with them. We worked with them for 2 years. The first year alone was like a 4 year master class in college of how to make TV shows and do it right. And like working with Comedy Central elevated us so fast, so fast. And you don't have to work with Comedy Central. There's because that's not like an easy thing to happen to make happen.
Hmm.
So you can even find other YouTube creators, other people that are doing things that you want to do, that you see their stuff and you're like, that's good. I want to be more like them. And maybe not like my content, like my voice like theirs, but as far as like my quality and where they are at in their process, I want to be there. So reach out to people who are better than you, smarter than you, and be humble enough to say, okay, I don't know what to do, or I don't know how to make this better. I don't know the next step. So reach out to people and surround yourself with as many people that are better than you as possible. Now, for how we happen to link up with Comedy Central, it's kind of like a crazy story, and it almost is kind of weird and doesn't really happen. But so there are ways to get in contact with people online. There's ways to dig up email addresses for executives at any company in the world. Um, a lot of those websites you have to pay for to get that information.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but sometimes they'll give you like free trials, whatever. Like one of them is called Rocket Reach, and so Rocket Reach, they'll give you a trial. I think I haven't had an account on there for a while, but yeah, you can find pretty much anybody. And sometimes those email addresses are outdated and they haven't been, properly kept up with, but you can find pretty much anybody damn near.
Mm-hmm.
And so basically, and also LinkedIn is a great tool.
Yes.
So the Comedy Central thing and some other networks too, but I'll say Comedy Central because we actually ended up working with them. If you worked at Comedy Central in 2015, you got an email from us. Even if you didn't do stuff with TV or programming, if you were a secretary, if you were an assistant, if you worked in the accounting department, you got an email from us. Now, I'll say when you're sending emails to people, and I'm not a pro at it, but my brother Dylan is a cold email master. And this is from years of getting good at it. He didn't, just like find this magic formula immediately. As a lot of unanswered emails kind of change your tone on how to figure out how to navigate this. But so if you worked at Comedy Central, you got an email from us or a LinkedIn message, and it was just asking for advice. Don't ask, hey, will you take a look at my project and see if it'll fit your network, or take a look and give me this or this or this. Like, don't ask for anything outside of advice, because people are always willing to give advice and help. And that's
Yes.
how you kind of start building that relationship is, just asking for advice and, trying to get any valuable information you can without pegging and being like a pest. Um, so yeah, we'd send all these messages to all these people at Comedy Central and just say, hey, do you mind taking a look at what we're doing? Maybe could you offer any advice on either like what you think about the content or what our next steps should be in developing this, and whatever it is, just asking for advice. Nobody answered us. Nobody replied. Nobody.
Wow.
Nobody. And this is hundreds of emails sent out. Nobody replied. And you have to realize that that's going to be a big part of the process, is people are never going to reply, especially when you're like just a nobody on YouTube, and these people are working at Comedy Central,
Mm-hmm.
which it's a lot easier to reach out to people who are a little bit above you, and then you level up a little bit, reach out to people who are a little bit above you. It's really hard to reach out to people that are already at the top when you're at the bottom.
Yeah.
But this is what happened. We started sending LinkedIn messages to people also, not just emails. So one person watched it and got back to us, and she was an assistant in the programming department. Just like she was like still at the level of getting coffee for people and just kind of helping where she was asked to help and do things like this and that. But she watched it, thought it was hilarious, loved it, passed it on to her boss. That woman also loved it, passed it on to her bosses. And then they're like, hey, keep us in the loop, let us know when you release episodes and this and that. So we'd keep them in the loop, we'd email them every time we dropped an episode. um and then they were eventually like kind of interested in it and wanted to talk to us. So we just set up a Zoom with them. And then they're like, you all should come out here and, meet us and this and that. Or I don't even think they even told us to. They were like, if you all are ever out here, let us know. So we took that as, well, let's get our asses out there and meet these people face to face and, take that relationship to the next level. So we flew out to LA January 2016, met with them, hung out here for the weekend, flew home. A couple weeks later, we get a call. They're like, hey, we want to start developing this for our digital networks. And then that's how it went. It just got lucky enough that one person who was a lower level assistant just happened to watch it, and she liked it and passed it on to someone else who liked it. And then, a few months after that, so January, met them. February, they called us. March, we had like our first episode out, March 18th, 2016. And then 2 months later, we moved to Los Angeles.
That is awesome. Like you just sending out messages after I would say 50 and I got nothing back, I would be like fuck, I'm
It's
doing
hard.
something wrong.
Absolutely. You just feel defeated. You're like, what am I doing wrong? Why are these people not answering? They're not even like, not even like a sorry, I don't have time for this. Not even
Hmm.
nothing. Just no reply. Um, but yeah, just being persistent, man, and that's what it takes if you want to do anything that is like you chasing your dream, whatever it is. You got to be persistent. You're always gonna find pitfalls and setbacks and whatever it is, and people aren't gonna respond the way you want, or if they respond at all, and it's just part of it. And you just
Hmm.
gotta that's goes into that what I was saying about you got to stay dedicated, because when you send out you know 50 messages on Monday and 50 messages on Tuesday and 50 on Wednesday and every day of the week, and next week rolls around and your inbox is on zero, no replies, it's like, why am I wasting my time with this shit? And it's
Yeah.
easy to feel like that and just stop. um but then you get one reply finally, and someone's like, hey, I kind of like this, let me know when you're dropping more episodes. Then you're like, okay, maybe we got some, maybe we can keep sending these messages. But you gotta stay dedicated and realize what your goal is and why you're doing what you're doing. Otherwise, it's easy to have a whole mindset shift and just be like, fuck this anymore, I don't even want to,
Hmm.
whatever it is.
It only took
But yeah,
just
it's
one for you to end up
exactly
where you are in Comedy Central. Now,
exactly.
if you made your way into the door, can you share
Mhm.
with us the process and what it was like working with them, but then also look at it wasn't what you expected as far as giving your content over and then having them to start distributing it out. You had to readjust your sights on how a show should be played out appropriately.
Absolutely, and that was the toughest part, because honestly, we thought, going in, that like, okay, well, they want this, so it's obviously good. We know what we're doing, and then to have a complete reality check and be like, okay, we don't know what we're doing. Clearly, we know how to be funny, but it was a little bit of ego tripping at the beginning, trying
Hmm.
to be like, why does it need to be like this? It doesn't make any
Yeah.
sense. Like, it's way funnier to do like this. Like, we're just trying to make this funny. Like, this is funnier this way, and they're like, okay, maybe, but it has to be done this way, because otherwise the story's no good. So you got to figure out how to make it funny and good story. So figure that out. And like they're sitting here giving us guidance. They're not like being rude and like, figure this out. I'm just kind of
Yeah.
like, the people we worked with were great. They were always super cool. They were never rude with us. Like, they were awesome. We're still cool with them, and they're like the two assistants we were working with at the time. They're actually like executives now at other networks.
Wow.
Um, so yeah, they've moved up and done their thing, and um, but yeah, man, starting that process was really tough. And also, we were thinking like it was our first show we made, so this was kind of our baby, and you don't want people to like touch it and put their
Mm.
fingerprints all over it and whatever it is.
Yeah.
So it was really tough for us to make that adjustment and be like, okay, well, clearly they know what they're talking about, and clearly they know what they're doing. And but you got to kind of pick and choose your battles, because sometimes they'll be like, well, what if we changed this character and did this with him instead? And you got to pick which battles you want to be like, what, I like that idea, so let's do that, that's great. Or sometimes you're like, nah, that doesn't really fit the character, that's not what we're looking to do with this person, this character in this show. And you don't want to cave on everything, because then they're not gonna really, they don't respect it. And like, I've heard them say that before, that like some things you want to, like I said, pick and choose your battles, and
Hmm.
realize that these people are bringing an element of quality to your show, and they're only trying to help, and they actually know what they're talking about. So that was the toughest transition for us, was just listening to other people about our baby. But now it's like, man, we're so open to collaboration. We're so even now that we've been doing this for years, and our content is like TV quality, we're still reaching out to people and looking at people who are in better positions than us, and people who have sold shows and worked on shows for years, and be like, well, what do you think of this? What would you do you have any advice? What should we change? And it's always still, you gotta, once you get past your ego and you can let go of your baby, then you can get into just a nonstop growth state, where
Yes.
you're on a constant search for how to get better. Who knows more than I do? How can I reach out to them? How can I contact them? How can I get their advice? How can I pick their brain? How can I, what can I give them? So this is like an equal exchange. What can I offer for them?
Hmm.
Um, and
I
it's
want to
just,
highlight
it becomes,
something real quick. With
Yeah.
what you said, with you had to, looking back with your baby, you didn't want anybody to touch it. But in order
Hmm.
for it to become what it's supposed to become, you had to detach yourself from your work to allow you to see the bigger picture and where it's supposed to be and how it's supposed to be. And then you also mentioned with picking and choosing your battles on what you will allow and what you won't allow. And you're right, 100%. That applies to everything with relationships. I mean,
Yeah.
nobody would want to be with somebody if they're a pushover. You got to stand up for what you believe in certain things,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
that applies with the business aspect. That people will respect you as somebody who is in charge when there's certain things that you don't allow to occur, and I think that's fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And it's just, it's a learning curve, and it wasn't easy at first, but yeah, like you said, once you can let go of it, and then you can just really, then that's when we had our biggest takeoff. After that moment, there was like this whole shift over this course of a couple of days where we're kind of looking at things internally and talking about things, and then it's just like, okay, once you get over that ego hump, then there's no limit on what you can do, and what you can make happen. But yeah, it's just that's the thing. And even now, like with everything that I do, with the coffee, with the cartoons, with whatever it is I'm working on, it's who's smarter than me, who can I put around that's smarter than me, that has already done what I'm doing, that I want to, I want to mimic their moves, and who can I learn from. And that's the key, is just constant learning and putting yourself in a position to be around people who know more than you do.
Now, from here, I would like to air this piece of content that you sent over for me, and let's see what we got here.
This is probably.
Man, I can't believe that just happened.
I know. That was crazy. Scott, you need to hurry up and ditch that bloody shirt. You look like a tampon.
Man, this pawn shop takes stealing super serious. You think we're gonna go to jail?
Definitely.
We can't survive in jail. We'll all get raped. Day one. I'll bet anything nobody rapes me.
I'll take that bet.
Wait, what?
Let's go, fat boy. You're up first.
First for what exactly? Wait, what are you doing? Get your hands off of me! Guys, save me! Please don't let him rape me! Ah! Guys!
Coach, just gyrate your ass on him so he comes quicker.
Oh shit, we all getting raped. I call last. He gonna be out of nuts by the time he get to me.
I got third. Guys, calm down. No one's getting raped.
How'd you do that?
It's a simple Jeet Kune Do move. Now you guys hang tight. I'll be right back.
The fuck you mean you'll be right back? Scott! You think he coming back?
Man, I hope so. Otherwise, I'm next. All right, guys, let's go save Coach.
Thanks for saving me, Scott. I can feel the heat coming off of it.
I'm a serial killer, slay 808. Till I'm coming for these motherfuckers, save the day. Bitch, ride the bed, I don't ride the bullet. I got my finger on the trigger and I'm about to pull it. With a GoPro, never go so. Don't fuck with the bobo.
Okay. First up, which one is you that's playing out the role in there?
I did. I think in that episode, I do Scott,
Okay.
the guy who saves
Yeah.
the day. I think in that episode, that was the only voice I did in that episode. But yeah, so that episode was kind of funny how that episode came about, because so all the episodes prior to that, we didn't do any parodies at all. So they suggested, like, what if we did a parody? We haven't done any parodies. So we're like, all right, cool. So we're like, what can we do? Like, what's extreme that's hilarious that we can turn into a big joke? And so we're like, oh, Pulp Fiction. Let's do that, because it's a staple movie. People will recognize it, and we can
Yes.
turn that scene into something just over the top funny and just make it absolutely ridiculous. So that was kind of how that happened. It was just that they said, what if we did a parody? So we're like, what if we did a parody? What I like it. Let's see what we can come up with. And that was kind of the end result.
So, what about the music? Are you guys creating that yourself, or you have a musician
The music at the
At the-
end or throughout the show?
at the very end? Yes.
Yeah, so that was actually my brother Brandon. My oldest brother makes music. He raps, and he's actually like super incredible.
It's
He
fantastic.
goes by D Hudson. Yeah, it's B period Hudson. But yeah, he all the music at the end of our episodes were always him. So like all of our stuff on YouTube, all of our Comedy Central episodes, was always his music, and it was cool. So also for people listening, the best thing about that was, so we started having my brother's music in the show on YouTube. So when we did the deal with Comedy Central, that was part of the deal, was that our brother's music still goes in the show at the end, and we got paid for that. We got paid for the music in there.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I like that. Yeah, I was listening to a couple episodes before this recording, and
Hmm.
it's fucking hilarious for anybody that is definitely
Thank you.
open. It's like what was it? I think it was episode 74. Eat the dog food, Adam. Not on the airplane. I just thought that was hilarious. Come on, eat
Oh
it.
God, are you talking about Real Ballers? Oh man, that's a funny episode.
Yes, yes. You've done so much work. I got to make sure I stay in line
Yeah.
here. That's
Yeah.
also, but that's what's interesting is you're known for that. Did that come last, or so it was the lounge then Real Ballers?
Correct. Yeah. Yeah, and then in between there, we did like some stuff with. We animated a segment for. I don't know if you've seen the All the Smoke podcast with Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson on Showtime Basketball. Super great podcast. I love it, and those dudes are super cool. We have a mutual friend who kind of set up that, so we were
Nice.
able to work with them. We did some animation on a handful of things for Kevin Hart's network. They were doing these Def Comedy Jam animated skits, and so we were animating that. And we've done like some other like small things here and there, but yeah, all that just started from us just one day deciding let's make cartoons, and taught ourselves how to animate. And now
That's
we have like a huge catalog. We did like, I don't even know how many episodes of Real Ballers.
it's a lot. I was going through it and like holy cow, and the
Yeah.
everything like the graphics, everything is spectacular. From you
Yeah,
guys
thank
starting
you.
out from nothing to what you created. It's awesome.
Yeah. Especially like after this podcast, you find a little time. If you check out the old lounge stuff on YouTube, and you're just like, man, this sucks. Like, how'd these guys even go from here to here? It's like, it's crazy. Especially like watch episode 1, and you'll be like, this isn't funny. The animation's bad. The writing is bad. Everything is bad. So to go from that to like the dog food episode of Real Ballers, which
Hmm.
is like super funny episode. I forgot about that episode. I'm gonna watch it here later today actually, because I love. So in the Real Ballers show, like I said, parody on the NBA. Adam Silver is a hilarious, kooky, like typical cartoon character almost, and Magic Johnson is like the best character in the show. He's in a ton of episodes.
Hmm.
Um, and his character, he's literally like the Bugs Bunny of of the show. He's
I
this
like
super
that.
wacky, very cartoony. We gave him a high pitched voice, and it's that he's always trying to sabotage people and then backstab people. He'll do anything to help the Lakers win. That's kind of his thing. He's like, whatever it takes to help the Lakers, he's down to do it. So his character is brilliant in the show. I love him. He's great.
Let's
And people are always, making fun of us. Why you doing magic like that? And I tell them that's the price of greatness. That's what you get for being great. You get to be made fun of forever.
let's wrap things up here. I just have one more question for you, and for those that are trying to improve their game, whether it's in content creation, whether it's being a better parent, whatever the case may be, what is some good advice that you can give people, and what is some bad advice people can avoid? What would you tell them?
Good advice. I will say get your mind in the right state. That's the number one. Like you can have a good idea, you can have a plan, you can have this and that, but it takes your mind being in the right place to stick to the plan and to stay dedicated. And for everyone that may be different of what it looks like to get your mind in the right spot. For me, it's a meditation, music. I do like Wim Hof breathing. I wake up at 5 in the morning every day, and the first thing I do is meditate, and then I do Wim Hof breathing, and then like I eat a little bit, and then I hit the gym, and then it's like 8:30 in the morning, and I've already done all the things that I have to do. Like those are like
Yeah.
my non-negotiables, right? So I used to work out in the afternoon, but things would pop up, and sometimes I'd have to miss a workout or whatever it may be.
Mm-hmm.
But when you do all your important things early in the morning, nothing is going to come up before 8 a.m. So, those are like my things that I have to get done for my own mindset, and they keep me motivated. So yeah, for me, it's the gym, music, meditation, like those things keep my mind in the right spot. So whatever you have to do to keep your mind right, I'd say that's my advice. Keep your mind right. Um, and I read a lot too. So yeah, I read books. I love reading motivating books, self-help books, business books, whatever it may be. So yeah, keep your mindset, focus on your mindset is the advice I'd say that I would give. Advice to avoid. Um, I would say don't take too much advice from anybody who hasn't done what you're trying to do. And don't take any advice from anybody who never chased a dream. Like don't listen to people who don't maybe don't know what they're talking about. Like you hear all the time the saying is it takes money to make money. That's not true. It takes money to make money is something that people who never made any money said. And like I've seen it done. I've seen people turn nothing into $1 million companies and with no capital behind them. I've seen it done. You can find thousands of examples of people who've done it. So yeah, just don't listen to people who haven't done what you're trying to do. And sometimes they can offer good advice, and maybe necessarily it's not like so. I'm doing cartoons, so I'm not saying I can't give advice to someone who wants to do music, and to a larger degree, I can't when it comes to your craft. But as far as like the steps taken to get where you want to get,
Yes.
um, yeah, pay attention to people who are doing things, and the people who are doing things take their advice. The people who aren't doing anything, the people who are just criticizing, everyone's going to tell you it can't be done. A lot of people tell me that cartoons wasn't a great idea. I had people tell me the coffee was never going to take off because people don't want that. I had a ton of people tell me this was never going to work. What do they know? Because it took off faster than I thought it would. Like Mark Randolph is one of my favorite like CEOs that I see giving a lot of talks and being podcast guests and things like that. So Mark Randolph founded Netflix. He wrote a book called That Will Never Work because everyone told him Netflix will never work.
Mm-hmm.
And look at Netflix now. So
Yeah.
sometimes don't listen to anybody at all, even if they do know what they're doing. If you have a dream and someone gives you advice that contradicts what you're doing or gives you a bad feeling, don't pay attention to them, even if they do know what they're talking about, because it's your dream, and only you know your end goal. So you know, seek quality advice and just take everything with a grain of salt as it is anyway.
Mm-hmm. No, with this advice that I'm asking, it's to paint a universal perspective. I mean, it doesn't have to be just towards content creation. Everything connects to everything, and I've definitely taken away a lot by what you just said, and I know somebody else will do the same. So I do appreciate that. Now, as we wrap things up, I want to just point out how people can get in contact with you and how to get more information on Korma and where they can go. With first your social media, they can go to you at Instagram, Trenton Hudson, Twitter, Trenton Hudson, and then with RiOT Media, of course, their website I think is down right now or will be.
I think it's down. I think it's down for maintenance, but
Okay.
it might have something there.
Yes.
But yeah, you can. So it's RiOTComedy.com, but I think it's down. No, it's up. It's just like not anything on there because
Okay.
we're kind of doing a whole rebrand of everything. But yeah, it's still RiOT Comedy on Instagram. You can watch a ton of our episodes and stuff. You can reach out to us on there if you have any questions, ever want any advice. Hit up RiOT Comedy or hit up my personal at Trenton Hudson on Instagram. That's where I'm most active on social. I don't really do Twitter too much, and yeah, I'm not really active in a ton of other places. And I have too many emails already to give out email. And honestly, if you hit me up on Instagram and you want to know anything or want any advice or anything, I will reply way faster on Instagram than to any email anyway. So, and then yeah, the coffee is kormacafe.com. It's Korma Cafe on Instagram. All our social handles is Korma Cafe. So yeah, that's where you can find everything. And our website, Korma Cafe, there's a ton of info on there about the health benefits, our little bit about our story and why we started. And then yeah, you can check out the coffee. And we also just introduced a new coffee scrub that's like super incredible. So I try to take like really good care of my skin, and the coffee scrub is like the Korma Date Coffee. It's got Hawaiian black lava salt in it with like activated charcoal. It's great at removing toxins. It's got a handful of natural oils in it.
Nice.
Everything of Korma is always all natural. Like we'll never add any artificial ingredients, no fillers, no. If it's not good for you, it'll never be in our products because everything that we make, I stand behind. And I started making the coffee scrub for myself too. And then I'm like, man, people might want this. But yeah, it's great. It stimulates natural collagen production, helps reduce wrinkles, it delivers antioxidants to your skin, removes toxins with the charcoal. Like everything in it is so good for you, and it's something that I've been using. And I'm like, man, if other people want this, I got that for you too. But yeah, everything we have at Korma, like I stand behind. It's stuff that I use myself, so you'll never have to worry about our brand integrity will never slip. So
That's awesome. I didn't know about with the skincare. That's a nice shift in direction. That's very innovative. I like that.
yeah, that's something new, and it's something that like I said, I was making it for myself. I'm like, man, people might want this too, because I started making the coffee for myself, and it turns out a bunch of people wanted it. So
And then also you have two limited edition flavors that's going to be available November 17th, which is peppermint mocha and gingerbread.
you're looking at the old website.
Oh,
We're not we're not gonna do gingerbread this year because it
okay.
didn't sell that well. Let's be real anyway. Like gingerbread is really just a wannabe pumpkin spice, so we're not
There
gonna
we
do
go.
that this year. But we do have the pumpkin spice coming out. We haven't even announced it yet, but I'll tell you the day it's coming out. Uh, Either the 7th or the 14th, one of those Tuesdays in September. The
Okay.
pumpkin spice will be out. And the pumpkin spice is awesome. It sold so well last year. It's so good. But yeah, so
Excellent.
that'll be out soon. Pumpkin spice season. I'm ready for it. I don't know if everyone else is. This is a basic white girl in me. I like pumpkin spice coffee too.
So if they were to go to your the kormacaf.com, I've noticed it's free shipping, and first purchase you get 20% off discount for making a
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah. Everything is free shipping on there, and yeah, your first purchase you get 20% off. And then also, if you love the coffee, your best bet is to sign up for a subscription because we give you discounts on that too.
Fantastic. I'll be sure to link everything in the show notes. Now, Trenton, do you have anything you would like to leave our audience with?
Yeah, I do. I just want to say, if you have a dream, just jump in. If you have something you want to do, just jump in. You'll figure it out. Like I didn't know how to make cartoons. I didn't know how to animate. I didn't know how to write jokes properly and scripts. And now like we make TV quality content. When I started the coffee company, I didn't know anything about coffee. I only even knew how to order like one drink at Starbucks. And I didn't know anything about different grind sizes. I didn't know anything about literally nothing. All I knew is if I jumped in here, I can figure it out. And your customers, your client base, they're always gonna give you the feedback that you need to make things better. So, like this looks great now, but this isn't the original packaging. You can always change anything. The original packaging looked like this. I've just bought like some janky coffee bags on Amazon. They didn't even have a seal at the top. I got some stickers, slapped them on here, and I made like 50 of these in my kitchen at home and sold them
Wow.
and just took that money and just put it back in everything else. And now like everything looks like this, and you just figure it out as you went. And yeah, I didn't know anything about coffee at all. I didn't know anything about date coffee. All I knew is I like it and other people probably will too. And then I just went from there and figured everything else as I went. And customers would be like, is this good for this kind of brewing method, like mocha pot? I didn't even know what a mocha pot was, didn't even know it existed. So yeah, I'm like, well, this is an email, so luckily I'm not on the spot on the phone. I can just Google this real quick and give them the answer. And then
Mhm.
yeah, I just figured everything out as I went. And yeah, you'll just so don't let the how many things there are to be done overwhelm you. Just jump in and you will figure it out. You just have to stay dedicated. So just jump in, whatever it is. Don't let fear hold you back because it'll cripple you.
Agreed. No, I agree. That is fantastic. Just from where you've came from to now, it's inspirational because it all it takes is just doing it and figuring out as you go.
hmm Yeah, absolutely. You'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Another piece of really good advice I got real quick whenever I was in college. I reached out to this guy who was worked in an ad agency, which is what I went to college for, was advertising and public relations. And so I reached out to him, and he hits me back with this email. I just asked him a handful of questions because he came to speak in our class. So I reached out to him, like, you gave a great speech. I loved what you said, and kind of asked a couple questions. Then he replied, he gave me a long list of things, but the thing he said that really stuck out to me was overwhelm yourself. So overwhelm
Yes.
yourself. He said overwhelm yourself. It'll be good for you. You'll be okay, and you'll be glad you did it. So don't be afraid to overwhelm yourself. It makes you stronger, and nothing feels better as a human being than doing things that are hard, that you have to overcome and work for a little bit.
Yeah. No, that's
Overwhelm yourself.
fantastic advice. I that's awesome. Well,
Mhm.
Trenton, I do appreciate you coming on your transformation station.
Hey, I appreciate you having me, man. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. All right, you take care.
Hey, you do the same. Appreciate you.
All right. Then we're going to. Oh shit. There we go. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, that was a very interesting interview with Trenton Hudson. He's the artist, content creation, business owner of RiOT Comedy. Fantastic. It was a great experience. For those that are just tuning in or who'll be listening to this later, or just check it out. Check it out. Start from the beginning and check out what you missed. This was a fantastic episode. And this is our first random live stream that I put out there. I'm going to start doing more of these as time progresses. I want to just start implementing the shows through live stream, as well as putting it through Apple Podcasts. So as time progresses, we will get the system down. We will oil the gears, and we will be just rolling smoothly up towards success as we go. And if you guys like the new shirt, definitely check that out. Oh my God, look at that. There we go. Oh yeah, that is what I love. Be sure to check that out. I'll leave links on links on links to everything. Alrighty. I'll see you guys on the next episode of Your Transformation Station. And cut.